What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and Jerry Jones decided to drop a bomb on us Friday while we're trying to digest Thanksgiving leftovers. And self-admittedly, right, Jerry Jones has mentioned he would do anything necessary to drum up noise. And, you know, essentially bad news is good news in his eyes. Good news is good news. No news, a terrible situation for the Cowboys. So what he happened to have mentioned, he went on Dallas's 105.3 The Fan, kind of talking about the state of the franchise. Obviously, they're making a huge comeback attempt, 3 straight wins since acquiring Quinnen Williams. And I guess off of the high of these 3 wins, off of the opponents that they were able to beat, and the fact that I guess you want to continue to keep your team in the news, he decided to drop some information in addition to us kind of seeing what you would expect to be a reputable source, John Machota, a Dallas Cowboys reporter for The Athletic. They highlighted the fact that a trade was offered to Mougey, Aaron Glenn, and the Jets earlier in the offseason, once again targeting Quinnen Williams. And this isn't necessarily the first time that we're hearing this kind of stuff, but this seems to be a weirder situation because you have like Connor Hughes refuting a lot of facts from here. I believe I saw a few other Cowboys related beat writers either refuting the refute from Connor Hughes or also kind of disagreeing with the series of events for Jerry Jones here. But nobody seems to have a accurate detail of this, right? Jerry Jones up in age, you know, maybe there's elements of this story that are true and more important elements that aren't, right? But to some degree, it feels like there was a trade offered in the offseason and Mougey and company didn't feel like the timing was right. Now, this trade package was supposed to be Micah Parsons and a 2027 first round pick in my mind for them to receive Quinnen Williams. Objectively, if you're looking at this deal and you're looking at the first, second, and Mougey Smith deal that we received, I think most people are leaning towards getting Micah Parsons, right? And you're still landing a first round pick, which would have gave us 2 in 2027. People are still talking about that draft. Having 3 obviously is very beneficial for us, but do you see the same kind of trades pulled off, right? If you do something like this early. Also, it doesn't put Mougey in a great light right out of the gate that he's trading a cornerstone piece of our team. And if you're assuming we still essentially land in this same spot where we're looking at a 2-9 record, would I rather have Micah Parsons than not? 100%. But in that same vein, you're talking about getting a supreme talent, right? Obviously decorated career, Pro Bowls, the All Pros. You're getting a much higher benefit than keeping Quinnen Williams because you're getting Parsons for the short, mid, and long term, assuming you wanted to commit to it. But 200 million, what did he land? 270 million or something in that range, if I remember correctly. I think he was averaging like 40 to 45 million dollars a year, whatever it was, over 4 years. Timing matters so much and circumstances matter so much in a lot of these situations, I feel like, right? Offloading Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner in the offseason would have been a totally different vibe than waiting until we're nearing the trade deadline. We obviously have no hopes of being able to salvage this season, and we want to be able to say that we have an elite plan with the draft going into these next 2 years, because these are going to be huge moments in time for this Jets and what hopefully will be a successful rebuild. But I don't quite have a war chest, and I'm not winning with these players that are elite, and I don't necessarily have full buy-in from Aaron Glenn and his coaching staff on these guys either, or in Quinnen Williams' case, right, aging veteran, kind of hitting the end of his prime, maybe the early twilight years of his career. And his timing just doesn't align with when we'll probably be able to be consistently competitive. All of that stuff matters. Yes, on paper, again, you roll with the Micah Parsons trade here. But I don't think that necessarily lines up to us getting wins. This is bigger than one person. If we're not talking anything to do with quarterbacks here, this job and what Aaron Glenn needs to do to fix his team is bigger than just any one player, which is why Sauce Gardner would have been available, which is why they decided to pull the trigger on a Quinnen Williams, in my opinion. And so short of being able to get you, a Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Tanner McKee or someone of that vein where you can legitimately turn to them and say, this will be our alternative to Justin Fields, who will have to scrap the experiment. It didn't work out the way that we intended it to, but not because of our process. We just weren't able to get the most out of him, right? Whether this rumor that's out there regarding this trade and when it was offered, whether it's legitimate, whether it's not, I think that Darren Mougey made the right call by not accepting it when he did. Also, from what I recall, when we heard about these rumors like months ago, I'm pretty sure I remember, because like when Zach Rosenblatt and them were detailing the story out, right? And to some degree there was mention of a prior trade and then us refuting it, and then this idea that, hey, it doesn't seem like they're just completely against us anymore. Let's make a final push, and then things finally get flowing, right? Where was I rolling with that? I just completely had a brain freeze. So the refute of the earlier report mentioned something along the lines of the Darren Mougey felt like they didn't have the resources to really be able to effectively pull off the trade, right? The trade that I recall them potentially turning down, which is vastly different from this, was something along the lines of the Jets would still get Micah Parsons. Maybe there was going to be some other kind of pick flip or round swap, something like that. But the Jets were going to have to offer up more in order to get him. So it would have been something like Micah Parsons and let's say a third round pick. But the Jets were going to give up Quinnen Williams and at least a first rounder, maybe something more. That's the trade that I, paraphrasing here, generally recall. That's the one that was refuted. You add in the fact that, again, they were going to have to work out the humongous contract. For what it's worth, Micah Parsons was saying throughout this process of trying to negotiate with the Cowboys that he wasn't looking to reset the defensive market or the non-quarterback contract market or anything like that. Ultimately, a player of his caliber necessarily should, but he also spoke in the manner that you see like some of these elite quarterbacks and really just a lot of these team guys that understand, yes, I would love to get paid after a certain value. This is all life-changing money anyways. Let's save $10, $15 million. Let's apply that to trying to get me some extra help, right? So that we can actually make a strong push. So you do have that component as well. But still, just looking at the contract he ultimately landed with and everything, could the Jets have afforded that, right? I mean, if you talk about pulling that off in the offseason, I also don't know if you could have gave the contracts that you did to Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner at the times that you did. I don't know how that would impact plans with, extending Jamie Sherwood, and obviously it looks like a worse off contract and all that kind of stuff. But pulling off something like that, depending on when it was happening in the offseason and everything, vastly alters all of these other plans, right? And with you still having your best option potentially being Justin Fields in terms of a quarterback that you can sign and hope can, reach that level, or hope that you can get a different kind of consistency out of him, it still feels like a lot of this stuff would have fell flat. So I'm curious, right? I've heard a lot of different thought processes around this, but let me know what you guys think. Would you have jumped on this trade when it was originally offered in the offseason? Again, assuming it's true, or what's your breakdown of why you would accept or why you would reject this? And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.